In this lecture, we are going to discuss an application of RNNs that I think will be nice because most other resources don't cover anything like this. In particular, we are going to look at how to apply RNNs to image classification. Now you might think that's pretty weird. I thought CNNs were for images and RNNs were for sequences. And indeed, that's generally the case. But in this lecture, I hope to expand your mind a little bit. So basically, this is all about your imagination. If you recall, when we took our dumb as possible approach, what did we do? Originally, we considered tabular data, such as what you might collect in a survey. Each column just represents your answers to my survey questions. How long did you study for my math exam? How many hours did you spend playing video games? Have you completed all the assignments in the course so far? And so on. These are called features, and they make up the input feature vector. Well, the dumbest possible approach for dealing with images was just to flatten the pixels of the image and pretend that it's a feature vector. Pretend that each pixel value is an answer to a survey question. In other words, this is all make-believe. You are just using your imagination. We did the same thing with time series sequences. Instead of thinking of it as a sequence, if we just want to pass the data into an RNN, we just pretend the sequence is a feature vector, and that each value of the sequence is your answer to a survey question. Again, all make-believe. Stock prices are not answers to a survey question, it's just imaginary. So how about we think of other kinds of data using this imaginary perspective? Here's what we know. A multi-dimensional time series is a T by D matrix. This is a two-dimensional matrix where each column is a time series. By the way, note that this image is a little misleading because each time series is a row. It goes from left to right. This is just due to the way we visualize time series. It would look very strange if I gave you a time series that went from top to bottom. So just keep that in mind. A time series stored in a matrix would go along the columns because the number of rows, T, is the number of time steps. Now consider a black and white image, such as what we have in MNIST and Fashion MNIST. This is a height by width matrix. Importantly, it is also a two-dimensional matrix. Each ijth entry of the matrix is the pixel intensity at row I, column j. But here's the trick. Since a multi-dimensional time series is a two-dimensional matrix and an image is also a two-dimensional matrix, how about we just use our imagination to pretend that an image is a multi-dimensional time series? Using this method, you can think of the RNN as like an image scanner. It scans each pixel of the image from top to bottom, looking at each row one at a time, and updating the hidden state based on each row it encounters. From here, our code preparation doesn't involve anything we haven't seen already. Step number 1 is to load in the data. That's just MNIST. From this, we get our input data as an array, which is of size n by t by d. Here, t is 28, but d is also 28. Step number 2 is to instantiate our model. For this, we can use an LSTM network and have the final dense layer with 10 outputs and a softmax activation. After this, we call fit as usual and plot the loss in accuracy per iteration. So very easy. All it required was a different way of thinking about images. As an exercise, you might want to try implementing this before looking at my code to practice what you've learned so far. Remember, this doesn't require anything new, just putting together old things in new ways. As a side note, you might also want to try global max pooling as well to see if it improves performance.